You ever have one of those weeks where your whole life falls apart before you've finished your second cup of coffee? Yeah, that was Tuesday for me. I walked into the kitchen like I always do. Same tired house. Same black coffee in the chipped best dad mug my daughter got me back when she still thought I was Superman. I even had my dumb slippers on. The ones with the stupid dogs on them she thought were hilarious. Anyway, I'm standing there, halfway into a slice of stale cinnamon toast, when my wife walks in with tears running down her face like she's auditioning for a soap opera. I know. She whispers, like we're in some kind of movie. I just want you to be honest. I blink. Honest about what? I ask. You ever notice how the innocent ones always say the dumbest stuff? Like we actually believe there's still a world where honesty counts. She holds up a crumpled piece of paper like it's the Declaration of Damn Independence. A hotel receipt. Local place. Nothing fancy. One night. Queen bed. Last Saturday. Her voice breaks. A neighbor saw you. At the Garden Suites. Please, don't lie anymore. Just tell me the truth. I look at the receipt. It's folded sharp like someone wanted to make sure the creases looked real. Only thing is, I'd never been to that hotel. Not Saturday. Not ever. And Saturday, I was upgrading her mom's stupid router all afternoon, then watching the Meg 2 with our kid while she had her girls' night at that overpriced wine bar that charges $18 for a flight of regret. So no, I wasn't at the Garden Suites. But I didn't say that. I didn't defend myself. I didn't yell. Because the second she pulled out that receipt with that trembling hand, I knew this wasn't about me cheating. It was about her trying to make it look like I did. And if that's what she wanted, well, she just opened a tab she couldn't afford to close. Now let me rewind just a second. My name's Eric. I'm 39. Been working IT since before Gmail had tabs. And if there's one thing I'm good at, it's digital trails. I don't do dramatic. I don't scream. I don't throw plates. I collect data. So while she kept sobbing into her tea and muttering about, "How could you do this to us?" I nodded. I told her I was sorry. I said I'd think about what I'd done. I even asked if she wanted to talk to someone. Maybe that family therapist she likes so much. What's his name? Dr. Calvin? She blinked. Sniffled. You'd really go? Sure, I said. If it would help you trust me again. The thing about traps is, if you want to flip the spring back on the hunter, you gotta act like the rabbit. That night, while she was showering, I checked my jacket. Nothing there anymore. She'd already pulled the receipt out, obviously. But I found a fresh tear in the lining where she'd jammed it in. She wanted me to find it by accident. Wanted me to panic. Confess. Crumble. Cute. Then I checked the receipt itself. I'd quietly taken a photo with my phone earlier. Like I said, I don't yell. I investigate. The timestamp showed 7:16 p.m. Room 212. Garden Suites, 3 miles from our place. And the last 4 digits of the card? Not mine. Strike one. So I remote connected to the hotel's digital video management system. Yes, I can do that. It's not that hard when you know how most small businesses reuse default router passwords. Took me 12 minutes. I scrubbed the footage for Saturday night. 7:16 p.m. Room 212. And what do I see? Her. In a tan coat I'd never seen before. Hair down. Lipstick on. And not alone. There's a man with her. Wearing dark green scrubs. Tall. Good teeth. Walks like someone who knows how to deliver bad news while smiling. They go in together. They leave at 10:47 p.m. She's holding his hand. Strike two. Now, I could have stopped there. I could have marched back into the bedroom, thrown the phone at her, and demanded answers. But that's what amateurs do. I wanted the truth. But more than that, I wanted the kind of revenge you can only deliver when the other person still thinks they're in control. So I made popcorn. I watched the rest of the hotel's parking lot footage just for fun. Turns out this wasn't the first time they'd met up. I found her in different outfits, same spot, 3 Thursdays in a row. Always room 212. I started building a file. Screenshots. Timestamps. Plate numbers. A little side-by-side video collage I edited during lunch breaks. By Friday, I knew 2 things. The guy in scrubs? That was Dr. Calvin. And 2. My wife's been playing checkers on a chessboard. See, she wanted me to be the villain. She needed a reason. Something clean. Something she could tell her parents. The therapist recommended separation. He's admitted to infidelity. She's brave for leaving. Only, I wasn't going to give her that. I was going to give her something better. I just needed one more piece. So I waited until Sunday. Family dinner. She was texting nonstop. Said it was her sister, but I'd already spoofed her text logs. Spoiler, it wasn't her sister. She was planning something, and judging by her mood, she thought it was working. That's when I knew it was time to stop reacting and start playing offense. You want a hotel receipt? Cool. Let me show you the whole booking, and just how much the guy she risked our marriage for stands to lose when I blow this open. I used to think the worst kind of betrayal was the kind you never saw coming. Turns out, it's the kind that looks you straight in the eye, serves you lukewarm spaghetti, and asks how your day was, like she didn't just spend hers plotting your public execution with a man who writes prescriptions and wears a wedding band 2 weeks out of the month. By Monday, my wife had completely flipped the script. Suddenly, she was all soft smiles and gentle hands, walking around the house like some kind of emotional hostage rescuer. She even made breakfast. Eggs and toast. Sunny side up. Just the way I liked it, when we still liked each other. You've been so open, she said, setting the plate down like we were on a couple's retreat. I really think we can heal from this. I chewed slowly. Nodded. Might even be good to talk to someone. Together. She lit up at that. Like I'd just volunteered to renew our vows or name a mountain after her. Dr. Calvin said he's free for dinner on Thursday. Just a casual thing. No pressure. Thursday. Dinner. With the guy she was sneaking into Garden Suites with for 90-minute sessions. I smiled. Sounds perfect. She kissed my cheek. I stared at the fridge. The magnets spelled out believe. Probably from some motivational thing she bought off Etsy. The irony could have crushed a lesser man. Now here's the thing about me. I don't get mad easy. But I do keep receipts. And not the fake ones. So while she was busy crafting her little Hallmark redemption arc, I was pulling hospital shift records. Dr. Calvin claimed he did weekend work at a local clinic. Quick Google search and a little digital footwork later, I had his full rotation schedule. Funny, he was always off on the nights he met my wife. Strike 3. But I still didn't confront her. No, I wanted this to feel organic. Like justice just happened to stumble in with a casserole and a clipboard. So I made a plan. I started with my lawyer, Rhonda. Divorced twice. Smarter than most of my coworkers combined. She took one look at the footage and said, "You want blood or just a clean kill?" I said both, but in that order. She laughed. "Then don't say a word until Thursday. You'll get everything." Next, I created a fake reconciliation journal. I put it on the nightstand. Scribbled in it every couple of days. Titles like Learning to Trust Again and What Forgiveness Looks Like. She flipped through it one evening while she thought I was asleep. I saw her smile. She thought she was winning. Bless her. Now let's talk about Thursday. She made reservations at that pretentious bistro downtown. The kind that serves deconstructed meatloaf and charges $14 for sparkling water. We got there early. She wore the navy dress, the one she used to save for special occasions. She even held my hand in the car. "Thank you," she said softly, "for choosing us." Oh, I chose something, all right. Dr. Calvin walked in 10 minutes late. White coat swapped for a blue button-down, sleeves rolled. No ring. Hair damp like he'd just freshened up somewhere that wasn't his own house. He looked me in the eye. "Eric," he said, smiling that polite therapist smile. "Good to see you again." I stood. Shook his hand. "Likewise." He sat. My wife beamed. She ordered wine. He declined. "Still on call?" I asked casually. He hesitated. She cut in. "Let's not talk about work, This is about moving forward." I nodded. "Right. Moving forward." We chatted like civil people do. Small talk. Weather. Our daughter's school project. All that pretend normal life fluff. Then dessert came. She ordered tiramisu. I got the check. And then I reached under the table and slid a slim manila envelope across to him. "This is for you," I said. He blinked. "What's this?" "Let's call it continued education." He opened it. Inside, full-color printouts of the hotel footage, timestamps, his license number, and a notarized statement from Rhonda outlining professional misconduct between a licensed therapist and a patient's spouse, with video backup. Her fork froze midair. "What is this?" she said. I leaned back, slow and calm. This is what healing looks like, babe." Dr. Calvin's face drained like someone hit the undo button on his confidence. This is illegal surveillance." "Oh, it's admissible," I said. "Especially when the server's publicly exposed. You might want to talk to your board about that." My wife's eyes darted between us. "Eric, what are you doing?" I pulled out a second envelope. This one was for her. Divorce papers. Filed. Signed. And time to hit her email at the same moment. "Oh," I added. And congratulations. She frowned. You're pregnant, right? She gasped, clutched her stomach. Who told you? No one. You're just really bad at hiding vitamins in the kitchen drawer. She stammered. It's not what you think. Oh, I hope not, I said. Because the paternity test was prepaid. They'll mail it right to your new place. Calvin looked like he wanted to dissolve into the seat cushions. She looked like she might throw up. And me? I signed the check. Dinner's on me, I said. I figured it's the least I could do, since you two already shared the room. Then I walked out. No yelling. No scenes. Just one clean, irreversible move. Checkmate. People talk about revenge like it's this firestorm. Loud, violent, dramatic. But mine was a slow freeze. Measured. Precise. The kind that settles into a person's bones and stays there. After that dinner, I didn't go home. I didn't go to a buddy's place or a bar either. I went straight to a small Airbnb on the edge of town. Quiet neighborhood, keyless entry, no questions asked. I poured myself a glass of water, sat on the edge of the twin bed, and just stared out the window. It wasn't joy I felt. Not relief either. It was something colder. A sort of peace that only comes when you've burned down the house before they had a chance to set it on fire. The next morning, I sent a brief message to my daughter's school letting them know I'd handle all pickups and drop-offs going forward. No mention of the situation. Just, we're reorganizing some family responsibilities. The principal replied with a thanks, Dad, and a smiley face. I nearly laughed. By Friday afternoon, the firm had launched a quiet investigation into Dr. Calvin's conduct. How do I know? Well, Rhonda's got connections. And it turns out when you provide time-stamped footage and a notarized timeline that aligns perfectly with a patient's therapy sessions, the board doesn't exactly need weeks to act. By Monday, his practice website was under maintenance. His assistant posted something vague on the clinic's Instagram. Thank you for your continued patience during this transition period. A transition? All right. He was transitioning from private practice to pending license review. I wasn't done, though, because something still didn't sit right. The pregnancy. The way she flinched when I mentioned the test. The way he flinched. It wasn't his. I could see that. Too nervous. Too defensive. That wasn't a man dealing with an unexpected child. That was a man dodging shrapnel. So I reached back into the digital toolbox. Remember, I work in IT. Not the sexy kind. Just the backbone level stuff. Servers. Metadata. Logs most people delete without thinking. But I'd done some freelance security work for her practice the year before. Helped her encrypt patient data. Taught her how to back up files to a private drive. She insisted on handling everything on her work laptop after that. Rookie mistake. Turns out, she never changed the default backup frequency. Every Tuesday at 3 a.m., her laptop mirrored its contents to a cloud folder, one she hadn't touched since I set it up. So while she thought she was the only one playing chess, I was quietly watching every piece move across the board. I logged in. Folder after folder of audio logs, therapy notes, invoices. But buried inside a folder labeled personal_archive was a series of voice memos. Dozens of them. Each one named by date. Most under a minute. I started with the ones nearest to the hotel timestamp. April 12th. He looked at me today like I was poison. Maybe I am. April 19th. The nausea's getting worse. I don't think it's Calvin's. That stopped me cold. I hit play on the next. April 25th. If it's Julian's, I swear to God I'll end it. I'll just tell Eric it's his. He wouldn't know the difference. Julian. I didn't know a Julian. But someone clearly did. I scrubbed the backup for any messages, emails, anything with that name. And there it was, a string of encrypted chats with a contact listed as J. I ran a metadata poll. Julian Hensley. Works for a pharmaceutical rep agency. Based out of Cleveland. Last name matched an invoice I saw once on our joint credit card statement. A restaurant charge from when she said she was doing a team dinner. Team dinner my ass. I went back to the security footage. Ran facial recognition against the hospital's visitor logs. And boom, there he was. Julian Hensley. Visitor ID issued 2 weeks before the hotel encounter. He wasn't wearing scrubs. Just a smug smile and a hand on her lower back. Dr. Calvin was never the father. He was just a stepping stone. The rabbit hole went deeper than I thought. The next few days, I stayed quiet. Filed for emergency spousal separation. Set up a bank lock on our shared accounts. Changed every password. Even the Netflix one. Left her exactly one thing. a handwritten note taped to the front door of our house. All it said was, "Check your cloud." By Sunday night, she was calling nonstop. By Monday, her lawyer emailed mine. I believe there's been some confusion. There was no confusion, only confirmation of everything. I dropped our daughter off at school that morning. She asked where Mom was. "Mom's taking some time to figure things out," I said gently. "But I'm right here, okay?" She nodded, didn't cry, just took my hand tighter. She was stronger than I thought. And as I walked her to the gate, I realized something. This wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about cleansing. Truth. No more secrets behind receipts. No more therapists playing both sides of the couch. No more baby names written in lies. Just clarity. And the calm that comes when the fire's out, and all that's left is ash. 3 days after she found the note, she showed up to the Airbnb. Hair in a bun. No makeup. No storming. No screaming. Just that fake humility she saves for therapy chairs and office parties. "I just want to talk." I didn't invite her in. We stood on the front step, her arms wrapped around herself like the chill was my fault. "You've been ignoring my calls." I looked at her. I thought that was mutual. She forced a smile. The kind of smile people wear when their chessboard collapsed mid-game. I'm pregnant." "I know," I said. "Congratulations." Her face twitched. "Eric, come on. I know it's not Calvin's. And it's not mine. So that narrows the list." She started to cry. That always used to work. Her little tell. But I just stood there, arms crossed. Still, waiting. "Do you even want to talk about this?" I finally opened the door, just enough to hand her a padded envelope. Inside, a printed transcript of the voice memos, chronologically arranged, bound and highlighted. A USB drive was clipped to the front page. "You left the mic on more than you thought," I said quietly. She looked down, then back up. "You're not going to post it, leak it, send it to your supervisor?" I tilted my head. "Not unless you give me a reason." It wasn't blackmail. It was a leash. And she knew it. I let the door close between us. My lawyer made it simple. We filed for uncontested divorce with full custody, citing psychological manipulation and infidelity. The documentation helped. So did the timelines. She didn't fight it. Not publicly. Instead, she retreated, deleted her social media, claimed she needed space to heal. Meanwhile, I moved home, one room at a time. I packed her things into labeled boxes. Bedroom, office, closet. But I left one thing taped to the nursery wall, the paternity test results. Still sealed. Still unopened. Let her read it when she had the stomach. Spoiler, it wasn't Julian's either. Then came the therapist fallout. Rhonda texted me first. "Calvin's license is suspended indefinitely. Ethics committee confirmed breach. They're not pursuing criminal charges yet." I didn't care much about that. He was a symptom, not the cause. But what did interest me was the letter from the medical board. They CC'd me, since my footage was part of the evidence chain. A polite little PDF thanking me for my diligence in bringing this misconduct to light. Right below that, a note. "We are also initiating an audit into additional professional relationships. You may be contacted for further testimony." She had spun this web wide. Turns out conflict of interest doesn't just apply to who she sleeps with. It includes client referrals, billing irregularities, even overlapping session notes. By the end of the month, her name was quietly removed from the clinic's online directory. She didn't lose her license. Not yet. But her practice? Imploded. She tried to go solo. Set up a home office, launch a private site. But in the digital age, whispers move faster than therapy slots. Clients vanished. Her calendar emptied. Reputation? Gone. That's when the letters started. Handwritten. No return address. Messy cursive like someone trying to sound authentic. First one read, "You're not being fair." Second, "This wasn't how it was supposed to go." Third, "I think it was a mistake." Each came folded into a page torn from a therapy notebook. Symbolic, I guess. I didn't reply. I just slid them into a drawer next to the paternity envelope. Proof, in case I ever needed it. Proof of desperation. Of unraveling. And then came the message from Julian. Yes, that Julian. It showed up in my filtered inbox. No subject. Just, "We need to talk." I clicked. Read. Turns out he got a message too, from her. She was trying to pin the pregnancy on him now. Said Calvin had been abusive, that she'd never meant to lie, that she needed his support. Julian wasn't buying it. "I'm getting a paternity test of my own," he wrote. "Just a heads up." If she tries to drag you into it again, I'm not playing along. I replied with a single sentence. Already done. Test came back negative. He never replied. Didn't need to. His silence was a handshake. The dinner was the final act. A small one. 5 people total. Me, my daughter, Rhonda, her husband, and, of course, the family therapist. No, not Calvin. The new one. One we vetted, one with clean credentials and zero romantic history. The dinner was meant to be a closure ritual. Our daughter had questions. She wasn't stupid. She'd seen the boxes, the changes, the quiet way her mother had vanished from routines. We explained everything the age-appropriate way. Sometimes adults make promises they don't keep, I said. And sometimes they try to blame others instead of owning it, Rhonda added. The therapist nodded. But healing is possible, especially when the truth is respected. My daughter just stared at her spaghetti, then looked at me. You're not going back, are you? I shook my head. No, sweetheart. I'm not. She didn't cry. She just reached out and held my wrist. Small, soft, steady. The calmest moment I'd had in months. When the check came, I signed it without looking. Tipped well. Life moves forward now. Without her. The hotel receipt was just paper. But the truth? That was digital. Time-stamped. Backed up. Carved into every choice she made thinking I wouldn't notice. She tried to frame me with a hotel bill. But I framed her life with facts. And the irony? She gave me the tools. She handed me the jacket, planted the proof, and expected the lie to work. What she didn't expect, that I'd take her game and beat her at it. I started jogging again. Not out of resolution or vanity, just a ritual. Every morning before the sun really broke the sky, I laced up, stepped into the chill, and ran the same loop around the neighborhood. The same one she used to do. I passed her therapist office on purpose. Empty now. Blinds drawn. Lights off. One of the front windows still had a sun-faded sticker, accepting new clients. She wasn't anymore. Her name had been scraped off the glass. A faint outline of the vinyl lettering remained like a ghost signature, just enough to remind anyone who looked too closely that someone had been erased. She never sent a final message, not even to say goodbye. She just vanished. The last I heard from her directly was an auto-generated update from the family court system. Ms. Keller has signed the final custody agreement. No contest. Her lawyer added a note. Ms. Keller would prefer to schedule visitation quarterly, subject to your approval. Subject to my approval. Funny, considering the last thing she tried to do was convince everyone I'd slept around and abandoned her. The same people who'd once believed her, co-workers, neighbors, mutual friends, now whispered apologies. One by one, quiet and cautious. You know, I never really bought it. One guy said at a birthday party for Rhonda's kid. I mean a hotel receipt? In your coat? Just lying there. He laughed, short and awkward. She was always a little too calculated. Calculated. That's what did her in. People don't mind messy. They forgive messy. But cold? Cold manipulation? That sticks. I got a call 2 weeks later from her old boss, the clinic director. We'd never spoken. I hope this isn't intrusive, she said. But we're conducting an internal case review, and some of your digital footage was submitted by a third party. We just need to confirm chain of custody. I told her I had everything on encrypted backup. Dates, times, and camera logs. Plus original metadata. She was surprised. I don't mean to pry, she said gently. But why go through all that effort? Most people just walk away. I paused a second, then said, because she didn't just cheat. She tried to erase me. There was a silence on the line. Then a quiet, thank you. She never called again. I didn't need her to. Then came the lawsuit. Not from me. From the third man. The real father. Apparently she tried to rope him in too. Spun some line about it being an old affair rekindled. Claimed she hadn't told him sooner because she was scared of my temper. He was a physical therapist. Mid-30s. Married. 2 kids. His wife found the paternity test first. He claimed he didn't know she was still married. That she said she was separated. That I was abusive. That she needed comfort. All her same lies. Recycled. Polished. He didn't press charges. But his wife did. Filed for divorce, full custody, and named her in the complaint. Intentional interference with marital relations. I'd never even heard of that before. But I saw the paperwork. It hit her like a freight train. From what Rhonda told me, she tried to countersue, said the man coerced her. But it didn't go anywhere. Her therapist credentials were suspended. Not for ethics this time, but for instability. Unfit for practice, they said. Pending review. I don't know if they'll ever reinstate her. I don't much care. The last time I saw her in person was at the courthouse. We passed each other near the clerk's desk. She was thinner, wearing glasses I'd never seen before. Hair cut shorter, dyed darker, like she was hiding inside someone else's face. She didn't speak, but she looked at me, and I looked right back. No nod, no smile, just eye contact. She blinked first. That was all I needed. Home felt different after that. Not because it changed, because I did. The nursery became an art room. My daughter liked watercolor now. We painted in silence most days, just the gentle scrape of bristles against paper. Her hand steady, her eyes soft. Is Mommy coming over today? She asked one Sunday. I paused mid-stroke. No, not today. Tomorrow. We'll see. She nodded. Didn't ask again. She knew. Kids always know. Rhonda and I talked once more, just the two of us. She poured tea. We sat on her porch. She thought she had everyone fooled. I said. Rhonda nodded. She did. For a while. I looked down at my cup. Steam curled upward, gentle and ghostly. Do you think she ever really loved me? Rhonda didn't answer right away. When she did, it was careful. I think she loved the idea of being right. More than being loved. That felt about right. We didn't speak much after that. Didn't need to. There was nothing left to fix. I took the final folder from my drawer a week later. The one with all her notes, letters, test results, receipts. Every lie. Every twist. I didn't shred it. I didn't burn it. I scanned it, archived it to a flash drive, sealed it in a safety deposit box. Not for revenge. For memory. Because sometimes the best thing you can do with the past is store it somewhere out of reach. She tried to bury me with a fake hotel receipt. Instead, she buried herself. In lies, in lust, in a pregnancy wrapped in confusion and betrayal. She handed me a trap. I turned it into evidence. She wanted guilt. I gave her consequence. And now? Now I run in the mornings. I drink my coffee slow. I paint with my daughter. I watch the leaves change. The hotel's still there, by the way. Every time I jog past it, I smile. She walked in thinking it would be her secret. Instead, it became my story. The thing about betrayal is, it echoes. Not just in your head, but in the way you move through the world afterward. You start checking for shadows that were never there before. Second-guessing smiles. Reading between lines that used to be blank. But if you're lucky, the echo fades. If you're smart, you build something stronger in the silence it leaves behind. That's what I did. Not overnight. Not easily. But piece by piece. After everything, the staged hotel lie, the fake confrontation, the truth behind the receipt, the revenge dinner, the therapist scandal, the paternity twist, I found myself standing on the front porch of my own house one Thursday morning, just staring at the wind chimes. They were hers, technically. She'd picked them out at a roadside stand somewhere near Lake Geneva. She used to say the sound calmed her. I never told her I thought it sounded like broken glass. I left them up anyway. Sometimes we need a reminder of what chaos sounds like when it tries to pass for peace. The divorce finalized on a Tuesday. I signed the last document on a digital pad at the county clerk's office. The woman handling the paperwork looked up and smiled politely. That's it, she said. You're free. Free. The word hit harder than I expected. Like I'd been underwater this whole time, and someone finally cracked the surface. I walked outside and didn't go home right away. Instead, I drove. No destination. Just roads. Windows down. Radio off. My thoughts louder than ever. About 2 weeks later, a package arrived at my door. No return address. Just a plain manila envelope inside a cardboard sleeve. I opened it slowly, already guessing. Inside was a printed photo. One of those 8 by 10 glossy prints you get from a CVS machine. In the photo, her. In scrubs. Holding a newborn. Standing next to a man I didn't recognize. Not the therapist. Not the third guy, the real father. Someone else entirely. Behind them stood a nurse. Smiling politely. Not part of the drama, just caught in the moment. On the back, in blue ink, she'd written, "Her name is Everly. I don't expect anything. I just thought you should know. No return address. No request. Just that. A child. A name. A gesture." I placed the photo in a drawer. Not to forget it. To remember what I escaped. The therapist, by the way, lost his license. It wasn't just the affair. Turns out there were other complaints, too. Clients who felt pressured. Lines blurred. Boundaries crossed. Once the investigation started, it all came spilling out. He went quiet on social media. His once popular podcast disappeared. His website went dark. Some said he moved to a different state. Others said he started over under a different name. Didn't matter to me. He became exactly what he'd always been, background noise. As for her, she stayed gone. No more messages. No visitation requests. No appeals. Maybe she knew she'd lost her grip. Maybe she just moved on. Sometimes destruction is so complete, there's nothing left to salvage. Even guilt fades when there's no one left to impress with it. I spent the next months rebuilding. Not in the cinematic way. No grand renovations. No dramatic speeches in the rain. Just small things. I painted the bathroom a different shade. Switched coffee brands. Moved my office to the spare bedroom. It's funny how even a new coat of paint can make a place feel like it belongs to you again. My daughter started sleeping through the night. She stopped asking about her mom. She started calling Rhonda, Auntie, without prompting. I never asked her to. She just did. That was the first time I cried since the night I found the hotel footage. Not out of sadness. Out of release. Out of knowing she was healing too. Sometimes people ask what happened. I don't tell them everything. I just say, she left. I stayed. That tells you enough. Because that's the thing, isn't it? People expect the affair to be the headline. The therapist. The baby. The paternity twist. But the real story? The real revenge? It's in survival. It's in still being here. One night, months later, I hosted a dinner. Just a small one. Neighbors. Friends. People who'd stood by me when it got ugly. I grilled steaks. Rhonda brought dessert. The kids played in the backyard. Someone made a toast. To new chapters, they said. I raised my glass, smiled. No theatrics. No slideshow this time. Just peace. That was the real twist all along. She tried to frame me. Tried to drown me in a lie so messy it'd take me down with her. But I didn't drown. I built a raft. And I floated the hell out of that storm. Subscribe to the channel